Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
At Amazon, we're pretty good at getting things done. We're pretty good at solving problems. COVID-19 is the biggest challenge we've had to face. But challenges are what motivate us. Like flying masks to our employees around the world. We're doing everything we can to get you what you need, and doing everything we can to keep our people safe. I'm former Navy pilot Sarah Rhodes, and I'm proud to lead our Amazon Air network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner on 12OZSportsRadio.com. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. We are live in Baltimore, Maryland, which is home of the Baltimore Orioles and the Baltimore Ravens. Who is excited for today's show to begin? And ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to talk about the NFL. And this is going to be one dandy. And my apologies for the accidental technical difficulties. I didn't realize I had the thing paused. I was just so excited. I just wanted to get into the thing. When you get excited about things sometimes, you just happen to forget to do one thing. That's my apologies. I thought it was great, but I didn't let the moment ruin the mood, I guess. So let me now start with the truth hurts, and facts do not simply care about your feelings. No, they do not. They don't care about your feelings. Sorry, Carson Wentz, your time in Philadelphia is officially over. And if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan this morning, we are saying finally we have found our franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts is now the franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Eagles, they did this too late. I said it, that I don't understand why they did this too late, but they obviously did. Jalen Hurts is already better than Carson Wentz. Listen, for all you guys that were saying, Doug Peterson, it's your fault. General Manager Harry Roseman, it's your fault. You didn't give Carson Wentz the offensive line. He doesn't have the receivers. Folks, Jalen Hurts has the same things Carson Wentz has. He didn't get sacked once. The receivers played extra hard for him. They were up 17-0. Yeah, they almost blew the game. They almost got unfortunate onside kick, but they won. They beat the best team. Maybe the best team in the NFL. You'd think they would have beat the Saints with Carson Wentz? No. They would have lost 31-3. They wouldn't have had any life yesterday. Why do you think they had life against the Green Bay Packers with Jalen Hurts? Ladies and gentlemen, Carson Wentz's time in Philadelphia is over. And the only reason why Peterson's not committed to Hurts next week is because he doesn't want to hurt Carson Wentz's little feelings. How adorable is that? Carson Wentz's feelings. He doesn't want to hurt them because he's got all that money tied into that contract. Dude, he's not an adult in the room. That Carson Wentz needs to see stripped off him. You better plant that on Jalen Hurts' chest. And I don't give a bleep and rip if it hurts Carson Wentz's feelings, because this isn't about hurting your feelings. It's about a business, and it's about winning games in the league. Carson Wentz statistically has been the worst quarterback in the NFL this year. I don't give a bleep and rip what anyone says. Okay? I don't get 2 cents of bleep and rip what anyone says about how bad Carson Wentz has been. The Philadelphia Eagles are a better football team without Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz will reunite with Frank Reich next year. If the Eagles think about going back to Carson Wentz over again, everyone who made that decision should be fired. Okay? You can't. This is obvious now that the problem in Philadelphia was Carson Wentz all along. And I'm going to say it and stick by this probably for the rest of my life. Nick Foles will always and has been a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And now Jalen Hurts is already better than Carson Wentz. And he's only going to get better. Carson Wentz is washed. Yeah, you can say what you want about him. Maybe go to Indianapolis, Frank Reich. But if you ask me, he's good. He's as good as washed goods, okay? Jalen Hurts, congratulations, Philadelphia Eagles. You should give your round of yourself some applause. You have finally found a franchise quarterback that could maybe win you a Super Bowl again one day. And I thought Jalen Hurts was a system guy. But no! It's obvious that Carson Wentz is the cancer inside the Philadelphia Eagles locker room. And he's all about himself and not about the team. That guy needs to get the C ripped off his chest, put it on Jalen Hurts' chest. He's been a winner everywhere he goes, and once his time in Philadelphia is finished. So it was 24-21, Hurts over Wentz. Wentz was the problem, all caps. Hurts is already better than him. And some Philadelphia Inquirer writer, and I agree with this take. Jalen Hurts completed 17 of 30 passes for 167 yards and 1 touchdown, rushed for 106 yards and 18 carries. Miles Sanders rushed for 115 yards at 14 carries and 2 touchdowns. He also got 4 passes for 21 yards receiving. Jalen Reagor rushed for 19 yards and 1 carry and caught 2 passes for 46 yards receiving. Dallas Goedert caught 4 passes for 43 yards receiving. Greg Ward 2 for 20. Alshon Jeffrey 15-yard touchdown pass second quarter. Taysom Hill, he's probably his last game starting this week or the year. Completed 28 of 38 passes for 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Also rushed for 33 yards and 5 carries. Alvin Kamara, 50 yards rushing on 11 carries and a touchdown. Caught 7 passes for 44 yards receiving. Latavius Murray rushed for 14 yards and 3 carries. Michael Thomas, 8 for 84. Traquan Smith, 3 for 60. Emmanuel Sanders, 3 to 48, 49 yards receiving a touchdown. Jared Cook, 3 for 37, a touchdown. Adam Trotman, 1 for 12. Juwan Johnson, 1 for 11. Here's what's interesting. I personally think the New Orleans Saints were caught in a trap game. Why? Because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs next week as well here also. All right. On to my next game. Oh, does it feel so good? Ah, yes. The Pittsburgh Steelers are Super Bowl frauds. Yes, sir. I hope Bills Mafia all night was waving them terrible towels, stomping on those things all around the world, smashing all them tables. What a beautiful sighting in Buffalo and Orchard Park, New York. Oh, that's just so beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots of last year, and I'm going to explain why. 2 aging quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, undefeated start to the year. 2 great defenses. Season goes on, the team regresses. Now, here's what I find interesting. New England, week 15 last year at Cincinnati was their last win. No, that's not true. They beat Cincinnati week 15, that's true, but then they beat Buffalo week 16, the Bills, but then lost to Miami Dolphins in week 17. So, truth be told, they'll beat Cincinnati this week. Maybe they'll beat the Indianapolis Colts, then they'll probably lose to a divisional rival in week 17, Cleveland Browns, potentially for the AFC North title. So, the Steelers are regressing, and let's truth be told, they're probably going one and done in the playoffs. Forget this Pittsburgh Steelers versus Kansas City Chiefs talk. And after this, I'm going to explain to you why. After what I explained the Kansas City Miami Dolphins game recap, why not the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best chance to beat the Chiefs, as in I think it's Buffalo Bills or the Tennessee Titans, and I'm going to get to that. So the Buffalo Bills won 26-15 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger, 21-37, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. James Conner, 10 for 18 rushing. Jalen Samuels, 4 for 15 rushing, 3 for 18 receiving. Benny Snell, 3 for 14 rushing. Juju Smith-Schuster, 6 for 55 and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, 4 for 40. Eric Ebron, 2 for 30. James Washington, 329 and a touchdown. Chase Claypool, 3 for 15. Now Josh Allen, 24-43, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 28 rushing yards on 6 carries. Zach Moss, 13 yards. 13 carries for 43 yards receiving. Singletary, 7 for 32, 1 for 2. Stephon Diggs, 10 for 130, a touchdown, 1 for 1. Now, here's the thing. Alan, the Harper Arnsel of the Buffalo Bills, has really found a connection with Stephon Diggs, and that's really how their growth has really started this year. And really, this Buffalo Bills team is very dangerous. Cole Beasley, 5 for 41. Dawson Knox also had 4 for 34. Gabriel Davis, 3 for 19 and a touchdown. I like the 4th round pick wide receiver out of the UCF. He's a big frame. Isaiah McKenzie, 1 for 12. Taron Johnson, 51-yard pick 6 in the second quarter. And I need to say nothing more about it. I think the Buffalo Bills are a better football team at the moment than the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Miami Dolphins. The Kansas City Chiefs took down the Miami Dolphins by a final score of 33-27. So Miami had a 10-0 lead early, but you can't keep Kansas City down forever, and they also had a 20-point lead as well. The Chiefs can't make things easy. The Dolphins are a good football team, but are not there just yet. Patrick Mahomes, and people are saying I thought he was just average yesterday, completed 24-34 passes for 393 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He also rushed for 9 yards on 5 carries. Clyde Edwards-Helaire rushed for 32 yards on 16 carries. He also caught 5 passes for 59 yards receiving. Le'Veon Bell rushed for 21 yards on 2 carries. He also caught 2 passes for 14 yards receiving. Travis Kelce caught 8 passes for 136 yards receiving, a touchdown. Tyreek Hill caught 3 for 79 and a touchdown, rushed for 32 yards on a touchdown in the second quarter. And they were down 10-0 at the time. I said Kansas City's going to have to get involved with Tyreek Hill. As I said, Le'Veon Bell or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, rushing game is going to be the difference. Well, what do you know? Run the football. And that's what happens. Sammy Watkins, 2 for 52. McCall Harmon Jr., 3 for 40. He also had a punt return in this game as well. Might come back to bite me in my Yahoo Fantasy League this week. We'll see. Demarcus Robinson, 1 for 13. Now, Tua Tagovailoa, pretty decent game. 28 of 48 passes for 316 yards. 2 touchdowns, 1 reception. He also rushed for 24 yards on 6 carries and a touchdown. DeAndre Washington, 35 yards rushing on 13 carries. Caught 2 for 17. Patrick Blair, 19 yards rushing on 4 carries. Lynn Bowden rushed for 2 yards and 1 carry. He also attempted to pass the football game incomplete. Bowden, 7 for 82 receiving. Matt Collins, 5 for 66. Mike Gesicki, very underrated tight end for Miami, 5 for 65 and 2 touchdowns. Jakeem Grant, 3 for 32. Adam Shaheen, that guy sounds like a movie sort of name of some sorts. 2 for 19 receiving. Malcolm Perry, 1 for 5. Patrick Blair, 1 for 4 receiving. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into my next segment, here's what I want to get into. So you have the Kansas City Chiefs as 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers as 2, the 3 seed Buffalo Bills at 3, and the Tennessee Titans at 4. So let's see. Okay, so here's the Kansas City Chiefs. And I did this morning. The Kansas City Chiefs have 7 30-point games. One of them is 40 points. The Kansas City Chiefs are first in passing offense, 327.3 yards per game. Rushing attack, 111.7 yards per game, 17th. First in the NFL in total offense of 439 yards per game. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to do here is we are going to see which of these 3 AFC teams, has the best chance to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So everyone wants to say Pittsburgh against Kansas City. Let's see. How does Pittsburgh offense rank against Kansas City? Oh, they only have 3 30-point games. Oh, they have no 40-point games. Oh, wait a second. They're 16th in passing yards at 253.9 yards per game. Wait a minute. They're 31st in rushing attack, 89.1 yards per game. Oh, wait a second. They're a bottom 5 offense in the NFL at 27th with 343 yards per game. Not the Steelers. Next, Buffalo Bills. 30-point games, 5 of them. 40-point games, 1 of them. 10th in total offense, okay. 386.8 yards per game. So 386.8 yards per game, which is 10th. Okay, not bad. Could get it done. Passing, 5th in the NFL, 284.2 yards per game. Okay. Rushing, 22nd. 102.5 yards per game. Not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. So now, check. Buffalo has a chance. Let's see the Tennessee Titans. 30-point games. They have 5 of them. How many 40-point games do they have? Not 1, not 2, but 3 of them. The Tennessee Titans have more 40-point wins. What I mean by that, when 40 points are scored, than the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the 4th best total offense in the entire NFL at 405.2 yards per game. So you're telling me that Tennessee's offense matches up with Kansas City's offense, even though they are 21st in passing yards, 247.4 yards per game. But they're 2nd in rushing yards at 157.8 yards per game. Translation, Derrick Henry is a bull. He can wear you down, and he can keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. Folks, these numbers don't lie. You're going to tell me the Pittsburgh Steelers had the best chance to beat the Tennessee Titans? I don't mind Buffalo's chances. I like their chances. But what stands out to me is the Tennessee Titans statistics. When you have Derrick Henry, and when you have Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and Corey Davis. And Arthur Smith's the best play caller out of the 3. Brian DeBull's pretty good for Buffalo. Oh, and don't get me started on Randy Fetchner, who people wanted in Pittsburgh fired. I'm just going to say, no. I'm telling you this. I don't know if the seedings are going to allow it, but I certainly would not be surprised, and I've been saying this all along, and I'm not changing my stance on this. The Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs will be playing the AFC Championship game again this year. And for you folks that want to doubt me, go ahead and do so. But this is like when the Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots played in 2012, New England won that one, and 2013 where Baltimore won. And I'm not saying that Tennessee is going to beat Kansas City. Maybe they will. And I think they have the best chance. What I'm saying is, you cannot tell me for 1 second that all you clowns out there actually believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, let alone play them in the AFC Championship game? Buffalo Bills or the Tennessee Titans? Check, check, had the chance to do so. I don't need to rant on this any further. Let me on to my next segment. Oh, gosh. The New York Giants are at it again. You lose, and now you're in second place in the NFC East. You might be done. You may have to draft a quarterback, but I'm not going to go overly crazy. He was hurt. Daniel Jones got hurt. Hamstring. He couldn't move. Now you got to win out. Good news is you got a tiebreaker over the Washington football team. That's good. But we got to see how these things play out. So, the Arizona Cardinals-New York Giants game, I think the New York Giants felt themselves. And the media was like, oh, New York Giants are back. Okay, now they get their dose of reality. What's going to happen? Everyone's now going to write them off against the Cleveland Browns next week. And that's where the New York Giants need to be right now. Just like no one predicted the Giants to beat the Seattle Seahawks without Daniel Jones. That's where the Giants are at their best. When no one predicts them to win. I'm not going to go, and do I think the Giants probably need to draft a quarterback? Come back to me with this couple weeks. Maybe so. Daniel Jones is like Ryan Leaf with turnovers, but I'm not going to be. Now, if next week, or if he's like tanks in the final 3 weeks, and the Giants in the top 10 drafted, like, this might be then general manager Dave Gettman, although he's drafted good things, and I think Joe Judge, the head coach, has got more same personnel. And now here's what I find interesting. Now I know what you want to say. People like, fire Jason Garrett, the OC, and okay, and then this is where I'm going to say here. If Jason Garrett was a bad OC, yeah, I know you don't have the wide receivers, and yeah, I know you don't have Saquon Barkley. But if he was bad, tell me this. Would Tony Romo and Dak Prescott be the quarterbacks they've been today? That's what I want you to ask this question. Tony Romo progressed with Jason Garrett. Dak Prescott progressed with Jason Garrett. Why is it Daniel Jones progressing with Jason Garrett? Why? Why isn't he? Maybe he just isn't that good? Just like Dwayne Haskins? Maybe I don't know, maybe you signed Dak Prescott? Reunited with Jason Garrett? Now, I don't think they would trade for Sam Darnold. Although, yeah, you're still playing New York, but you just flip locker rooms. Daniel Jones? Is he the answer? I thought maybe they should start Colt McCoy when he played bad. But Daniel Jones? I don't know if he's the answer. I don't know. Time's going to tell on that one. So, and then in the 26-7 loss, Kyler Murray completed 24-35 passes for 244 yards, 1 touchdown. He also rushed for 47 yards and 13 carries. Kenyon Drake, 80 yards rushing on 23 carries and a touchdown, 1 for 10 receiving. Chase Edmonds, 32 on 7 carries. He also caught 4 for 21 receiving. DeAndre Hopkins, 9 for 136. Dan Arnold, 2 for 27. Max Williams, 2 for 17. Christian Kirk, 3 for 14. Fitzgerald, 2 for 10. Keyshawn Johnson, 1 for 9, Daniel Jones completed 11 of 21 passes for 127 yards. Did not have any rushing yards, that's where he's at his best. Colt McCoy completed 2 of 3 passes for 18 yards. Jones should not have played in this football game due to his hamstring injury. McCoy should have started his football game over him. Wayne Gallman rushed for 57 yards on 12 carries. He also caught 3 passes for 16 yards receiving. Deion Lewis rushed for 14 yards and 2 carries and a touchdown. Alfred Morris rushed for 7 yards and 3 carries. Golden Tate caught 1 pass for 39 yards receiving. Sterling Shepard caught 3 passes for 35 yards receiving. Darius Slayton, 3 for 31. Evan Ingram, 2 for 18. Caden Smith, 1 for 6. They said there was a ridiculously stat that the Giants couldn't even separate 1 yard against corners, which means they need a wide receiver like a Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase, or sign. You know what? You might sign Allen Robinson and also draft a wide receiver. Because that's what they need. They need that. Next up, what's number 5? The next thing on this show today regarding to the NFL. Ah, yes, the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Folks, and the Minnesota Vikings had a competent kicker yesterday, they probably would have beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm still not sold on Tampa Bay. Did not look good at all. Minnesota shot themselves in the foot more than Tampa Bay won that game. Score was 26-14. Dan Bailey left 10 points on the field. Missed 3 field goals and an extra point. Minnesota Viking kickers, for whatever reason, seem to be cursed, and I don't know why this is the case. The Minnesota Vikings always have cursed for kickers, and that franchise always seems to be cursed. Because I can tell you, I know a couple of Minnesota Vikings fans, and they probably could tell you that I'm probably right. So here we go. As I've said, 26-14, Tampa Bay over Minnesota. Dan Bailey cost them the game. As I've said, Vikings field goals kickers are cursed. Tom Brady wasn't exactly sharp at completing 15 of 23 passes for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ronald Jones rushed for 80 yards on 18 carries and a touchdown. LaShawn McCoy, 32 yards rushing on 4 carries. Mike Evans, 3 for 56. Antonio Brown, 5 for 49. Scotty Miller caught a 48-yard touchdown reception in the second quarter. Chris Godwin caught 2 passes for 25 yards receiving. Kirk Cousins completed 37 passes for 225 yards and 1 touchdown. He also rushed for 41 yards on 5 carries. Dalvin Cook rushed for 102 yards on 22 carries and a touchdown. He also got 2 passes for 8 yards receiving. Amir Abdullah rushed for 11 yards and 3 carries. He also got 2 passes for 10 yards receiving. Ernst Smith Jr. caught 4 passes for 63 yards receiving and a touchdown. Tyler Conklin, 5 for 41 yards receiving. Adam Thielen, 3 for 39. Justin Jefferson held and contained, 4 for 39 yards receiving. CJ Ham, 3 for 22 yards receiving. All right, next up on the agenda, the Washington football team versus the San Francisco 49ers. So another win puts the Washington football team in the first place in the NFC East at the moment with a 23-15 win over San Francisco. So, here's an interesting stat about Washington. They are 9-5 when Alex Smith plays and 6-25 when he doesn't. If Dwayne Haskins has to start the rest of the year for the Washington football team, you can forget their playoff chances, because I'm going to tell you this. Either the Philadelphia Eagles seem to be recharged with Jalen Hurts, or the New York Giants win that division at 7-9. That's what I feel like. So, Alex Smith, 8 of 19, 57 yards, 1 interception. But it's more about the leadership. Dwayne Haskins, 7 of 12 for 51 yards, but he was way worse than Alex Smith. J.D. McKissick, 68 yards rushing on 11 carries, 2 for 18 receiving. Peyton Barber, 37 yards rushing on 12 carries, 2 for 1 receiving. Pretty impressive that they don't have a potential Rookie of the Year candidate, turf toe, with Antonio Gibson, who missed the game yesterday. Logan Thomas, 6 for 43. Terry McLaurin, 2 for 24. Isaiah Wright did not complete a pass. And he also had 1 for 9. Cam Sims, 1 for 8. Steven Sims, 1 for 5. And Chase Young also had a defensive touchdown. And he's just simply built different for Washington. Nick Mullins, 25 of 45. 260 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Oh, Washington had 2 defensive touchdowns. Let me just say this. The San Francisco 49ers need to sign Jimmy Garoppolo to a lifetime contract. The heartbeat and heart soul of the San Francisco 49ers, and simply basically because, the 49ers are not the same team without Garoppolo. And all you guys said, Nick Mullins is a cheaper version of Jimmy G. No. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Nick Mullins. And they almost won the Super Bowl last year because of Garoppolo. No, that's not happening. You can talk about it all you want, but there is no chance on this planet Earth that Garoppolo is leaving. Sign him to a lifetime contract until he retires. Raheem Mostert, 65 yards rushing on 14 carries, 2 for 5 receiving. Jeffrey Wilson, 31 yards rushing on 11 carries and a touchdown, 1 for 13 receiving. Brandon Ayuk, 10 for 119. Deebo Samuel, 1 for 9 rushing, left the game, did not return. Kendrick Bourne, 3 for 42. Richie James, 3 for 33. Ross Dwelly, 2 for 20. Kyle Juszczyk 2 for 15, a touchdown, 1 for 3. Jordan Reed 2 for 13 receiving. I'm just saying, you all don't want to believe me with the Jimmy Garoppolo takes. All right, the New England Patriots versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams took down the New England Patriots by a final score of 24-3 on Thursday Night Football. Jared Goff completed 16 of 25 passes for 137 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He also rushed for 11 yards on 4 carries and a touchdown. Now, Goff didn't exactly play his sharpest game, but the defense once again has proven it's one of the best in the NFL. Cam Akers rushed for 171 yards on 29 carries. He also caught 2 for 23 receiving. Tyler Higbee caught 2 for 34. Cooper caught 5 for 33 and a touchdown. Robert Woods 5 for 32. Gerald Everett 1 for 9. Josh Reynolds 1 for 6. Now, Kenny Young had a 79-yard pick six in the second quarter. Now, New England was up 10-0. Not New England, Los Angeles was up 10-0 on New England at the time. The Patriots were driving. And then, bam, a pick six changes the game, and they basically can't recover. So, Josh Reynolds also had, with Kenny Young, and then Cam Newton, 9 of 16 passes for 119 yards and 1 interception. Also caught what? He also rushed for 16 yards on 7 carries. Jared Stidham completed 5 of 7 for 27 yards. Also rushed for 3 yards and 1 carry. Should the New England Patriots look at Jared Stidham the rest of the year? Maybe, but head coach Bill Belichick has already shot it down. Like, they're not going to look at him. And they need some wide receiver help. And maybe Cam Newton's done. Maybe he's washed. Maybe the coronavirus didn't help him. He hasn't been the same ever since. But then a lack of weapons on the outside doesn't help. And also, this is also the first time since 2002 that the New England Patriots will not win at least 10 games in a season. The last time they missed the playoffs was 2008. But the thing was, they went 11-5 with Matt Castle. They just didn't have the necessary tiebreakers. And Bill Belichick has an under 500 record without Tom Brady, which I find very interesting. I don't know how I find it interesting, but I'm telling you, it very much is interesting. So, Damian Harris rushed for 50 yards and 11 carries. And there's one stat I want to say about the whole Belichick thing before I move on. So they list the thing. What was the hot stuff back in 2002 when the Patriots did not win 10 games? You want to know what the hot song was at the time? Hot in Here by Nelly. Oh, that song is now stuck in my head at the moment. Maybe I'll listen to that song sometime later today or something. I don't know. Hot in here, hot in there. Yeah, that's not the New England Patriots. James White rushed for 16 yards on 3 carries. Also got 1 pass for 2 yards receiving. N'Keal Harry caught 3 passes for 39 yards receiving. Demir Bird caught 5 passes for 48 yards receiving. Jacoby Myers caught 4 passes for 47 yards receiving. Okay, so lastly but not least with my NFL game recaps, before I get into my NBA preview, the Indianapolis Colts versus the Vegas Raiders. So this was a monster win for the Indianapolis Colts. And they dominated the Las Vegas Raiders in the second half by a final score of 44-27. It was close in the first half. But what do I say about the Indianapolis Colts? Frank Reich, the head coach, and their defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, in the 7.5 to 15 minutes in that halftime locker room, always make the proper adjustments. And this is why Indianapolis cannot be taken lightly in the playoffs. You need to have a lead on Indianapolis at halftime, because even if they try and come back, it won't be as bad if you need 1 touchdown compared to if you need 2 scores against them, because they are great halftime adjusters. And that is something you're just basically born with. That's what the Indianapolis Colts do. They do it grace in class all the time. They just know, and this is a credit to a lot of people there, the players, the coaching staff. This is just not surprising. I think they're the best halftime adjusters in the league. I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl, But that's a team to watch in the playoffs that could pull an upset card or two. Not saying they're going to win a playoff game. It's potential they could shock some people. But Phillip Rivers, he's been better. I'm not saying he's been a world beater. He's not the Phillip Rivers or the prime Phillip Rivers. He's been better this year than he was last year. I'm kind of been a little bit surprised. And Phillip Rivers completed 19 to 28 passes for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. And now this is why they won yesterday. Won the line of scrimmage. Oh, Jonathan Taylor, the rookie from Wisconsin, rushed for 150 yards and 20 carries and 2 touchdowns. He also got 2 passes for 15 yards receiving. Nyheim Hines rushed for 58 yards on 7 carries. He caught 4 passes for 27 yards receiving. T.Y. Hilton, 5 for 86 and 2 touchdowns. Jack Doyle, 3 for 44. Michael Pittman, 2 for 42. Zach Pascal, 1 for 27. Derek Carr, 31 of 45 for 316 yards. 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He rushed for 12 yards and 3 carries and a touchdown. Zay Jones completed a 29-yard pass in this football game as well for the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs rushed for 49 yards on 13 carries. He caught 3 for 25 yards receiving. Nelson Aguilar, 5 for 100 receiving and a touchdown. Darren Waller, 7 for 75 yards receiving. Foster Moreau, 47-yard touchdown reception in his football game for the Las Vegas Raiders in the second quarter. Hunter Renfrow, 5 for 38. Jalen Richard, 4 for 31. Rushed for 10 yards on 2 carries. Henry Ruggs III, 3 for 18. And Khari Willis had a 50-yard pick 6 in the fourth quarter as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. Welcome to my NBA preview for the 2020 season. It's going to be fantastic. I'm telling you all right now, this is nothing like we've ever seen before. The NBA. It's going to be a season like we've never seen before. The National Basketball Association is going to be very fun this year. And ladies and gentlemen, let me start with this. In the Eastern Conference, and now I'm going to go 15 through 1. The worst team in the Eastern Conference this season will be the Detroit Pistons. The 14th seed in the Eastern Conference will be the New York Knicks. The 13th seed in the Eastern Conference will be the Orlando Magic. The number 12 seed in the Eastern Conference will be the Chicago Bulls. The 11th seed will be the Indiana Pacers. Now, I'm telling you this. The NBA has adjusted its playoff thing this year. It's adjusted the playoff thing this year. So they're going to have 10 through 7, 9 through 8 as a play-in like they did in the bubble last year. Now the 9th seed and the 10th seed will have to beat the 8 and 7 seed twice in order to make the playoffs. So, who's going to be the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference? The Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young, Danilo Gallinari, Rajon Rondo, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter. And they're also going to have some other young pieces. But I still think they're a year away from being a serious playoff contender. And I thought that the NBA playoffs this year was just 1 through 8. Until a friend in the group chat that I had yesterday for Fantasy Football is like, oh, okay. Okay. I see what's going on here. with the 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I had to research. I'm like, what? They're 10 playoff teams? I'm like, oh, this is what the NBA has in store this year. And I'm not surprised by it. Number 9, Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward. That's going to be tickets. And Devontae Graham is a very underrated guard. They're all underrated guards in the NBA this year. And Michael Jordan, the owner, they're going to be better. They're going to be one of the must-watch teams in the East. LaMelo Ball is going to be some highlight reels waiting to happen every single game. Number 8, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The rookie they drafted, Isaac Okoro. Yeah, I know it's one preseason game, but he seems like to me he's going to be pretty good this year. Potentially one of the Rookie of the Year finalists. You got Kevin Love, JaVale McGee, Andre Drummond, Cedi Osman, Darius Garland, Kevin Porter, Colin Sexton, Larry Nance Jr. And J.B. Bickerstaff's a very underrated head coach. Number 7, the Toronto Raptors. You lose Serge Ibaka, you lose Marc Gasol, but, and yeah, you lost Kawhi Leonard now. You still got Kyle Lowry. You drafted Malachi Flynn. You have Fred VanVleet. You have a guard-centric team. Chris Boucher, keep an eye out for. Mike Thomas, they have a lot of good players on this team. Although losing a lot of good players, they'll have good cohesion. They'll make the playoffs, but they're not going to go very far. Number 6, Boston Celtics. And I know Jason Tatum grew, but I don't get the fact that you all keep selling his hype. Him, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, they're not very deep. Their depth play is going to kill them later on. Number 5, Washington Wizards. I love Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal combination. Danny Avdija is going to be, I think, the Rookie of the Year. He's going to be a natural-born scorer for the Washington Wizards. I mean, that's going to be a very fun watch in the Eastern Conference this year. The Washington Wizards, they do a lot of things with Grayson Class, and I'm telling you, they're going to be a fun watch in the East with Scotty Brooks as the head coach. Number 4, the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to take a step back. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo. Number 3, the Miami Heat. They're going to show that their NBA bubble run last year was absolutely no joke. Tyler Herro, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Precious. And I'm just telling you, this team is going to be under Eric Spoelstra, Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn. Very good cohesion players. Maybe they make a run at James Harden or not, we'll see. The number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference will be the Philadelphia 76ers. I like the upgrades that Daryl Morey made. Danny Green, Seth Curry, they have shooters. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle. They'll be much better defensively with Doc Rivers. I think they'll be better coached. Although I have my questions with Doc Rivers as a coach, he's an upgrade over Brett Brown. But time's going to tell what's going to happen. Number 1, the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen. This team's going to be dangerous and scary. If Kevin Durant is back to what he once was, they're going to probably be winning the Eastern Conference, probably going to the NBA Finals. The Brooklyn Nets are the team, probably the team to watch in the Eastern Conference this year. Steve Nash, the head coach. Mike D'Antoni is hired as an assistant. They have Amari Stoudemire on that staff too from Israel. This is just going to be a very, very fun watch for the Brooklyn Nets this year. So, moving on to the Western Conference. Number 15, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are rebuilding. Number 14, Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 13, the San Antonio Spurs. Number 12, the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 11, the Sacramento Kings. Here we go. Number 10, the Houston Rockets. Excuse me. James Harden. Probably going to get traded. Doesn't like the fact with John Wall. You got DeMarcus Cousins, Christian Wood. I think all those guys are pretty good. Steven Silas, the new head coach. They already traded Russell Westbrook to Washington Wizards. And the Houston Rockets are going to be a dysfunctional mess. Oh, and Daryl Morey left the front office in the Philadelphia 76ers. Houston Rockets are probably going to start a full rebuild sooner rather than later. Although I think they'll be 10th because they might have Harden to start the year. And they might be good enough, even in the tough Western Conference, to overcome stuff. To at least get 10, not a top 8. Number 9, the Utah Jazz. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Bogdan Bogdanovic. They're well coached by Quinn Snyder. The Utah Jazz are going to take a monster step back. And I don't think they'd be in the playoffs with the regular 8 teams. But because the way the NBA has its playoffs this year, they will be in that play-in tournament. I don't think it's going to go very well for them. Number 8, the New Orleans Pelicans. And I'm going to say this. You got Stan Van Gundy's the new head coach. Alvin Gentry leaves. But I'm going to say this. Even without Zion Williamson, here's their roster. Jackson Hayes, Steven Adams, Nikhil Walker-Alexander, Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart. You still have players on the New Orleans Pelicans that can win you games. And I think they're one of the more talented teams in the Western Conference. Not saying they're going to be a top 5 seed. What I'm saying is, this is the top 8 seed in the West. Number 7, the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, Kelly Oubre, James Wiseman. You got Andrew Wiggins. You have Eric Pascal and Jordan Poole. Yeah, you don't have Klay Thompson this year, but Steph Curry, as long as he stays healthy, along with Draymond Green, you'll be able to make the playoffs. Maybe pull an upset or two in the playoffs with Steve Kerr as your head coach, although the championship pedigree is probably over. Number 6, the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Serge Ibaka, Luke Kennard, and what's going to kill them is they don't have a true point guard with Patrick Beverly, and Tyronn Lue might be an upgrade as an NBA champion with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2015 and 2016. But let's be real here. The Clippers are going to underachieve and low manage a lot this year, and there are going to be more teams that are hungrier than them. That will be in the top 5, and the Clippers will not be a top 5 team in the Western Conference. I'm just going to say that for the record with the Los Angeles Clippers. Number 5, the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker and Chris Paul, they went 8-0 in the bubble. Monty Williams could be a Coach of the Year candidate. DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, and they have some other young promising players on the roster. Oh, Jalen Smith. Love him a lot. Keep an eye on the Phoenix Suns in the West. They are going to be a very good team. They might be a hot topic team earlier in the year if they get off to like a 10-2 start. It's just an NBA Finals contender. And everyone's going to be like, you know what they say? It's going to be more about the regular season for them than it will be for teams like the Los Angeles Lakers or other NBA title contenders like the Los Angeles Clippers. They're going to care more about the postseason, but a team like Phoenix is really going to care a lot about the regular season. Number 4 seed, the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic, MVP candidate, Kristaps Porzingis, Dorian Finney-Smith, amongst other things. I still think they need that 3rd star, but it's not really going to matter. Dallas is going to win a lot of games this year because of Doncic, and he just makes... I couldn't believe they had the number 1 offense in the NBA last year because of him. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be a top 4 seed since the days of Dirk Nowitzki. Number 3, the Portland Trailblazers. there's going to be chemistry very early and often. Carmelo Anthony, CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard. You also got Yusuf Nurkic and Zach Collins. Gary Trent Jr. is going to be a key guy off the bench. They also have Robert Covington. They're going to be a top 3 team. They're going to win a lot of games during the regular season, I think. I don't know if they're going to translate to postseason success. But the Portland Trail Blazers are going to be a top 3 team in the Western Conference this year. Number 2, Los Angeles Lakers. And you're all going to probably start pounding on me. But Glenn, they got Marc Gasol now. Dennis Schroeder. They're the NBA defending champs. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, best duo in the league. Yeah, I get all of that. But let's not also forget that it's also because of new key role players, it's going to take some time to develop chemistry. It's going to take time. You know how new things work in a new season. Take it time. But the chemistry also worked right away. Also, keep an eye on Kyle Kuzma, who might benefit from being the 10th man instead of the 3rd man. Number 1 in the Western Conference, Denver Nuggets. Listen to this. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. is going to pop. Paul Millsap, Gary Harris Jr. You got Will Barton, Monty Morris. Also, keep an eye on Bol Bol, who's going to see extended minutes, and you cannot teach his height and his skill. I think he's taller than Anthony Davis. So the Denver Nuggets are a team you have to keep an eye on for the upcoming season. That's why I think they'll be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Here we go with the playoffs. In the East, in the play-in round, number 7 Toronto over number 10 Atlanta. Number 8 Cleveland over number 9 Charlotte. First round, Brooklyn Nets number 1 over 8 Cleveland, probably in a 4-game sweep. Number 5 Washington over number 4 Milwaukee. Number 2 Philadelphia over number 7 Toronto. And number 3 Miami over number 6 Boston. Second round, number 1 Brooklyn over number 5 Washington. Number 2 Philadelphia over number 3 Miami. Eastern Conference Finals. Number 1 Brooklyn over number 2 Philadelphia. Now in the Western Conference. Playing number 7 Golden State over number 10 Houston. Number 8 New Orleans Pelicans over number 9 Utah Jazz. First round. Number 1 Denver Nuggets over number 8 New Orleans Pelicans in probably 5 games. Number 2 Los Angeles Lakers over number 7 Golden State Warriors. Number 6 Los Angeles Clippers in an upset over the number 3 Portland Trail Blazers. And number 4 Dallas Mavericks over number 5 seed Phoenix Suns. Second round. Number 1 seed Denver Nuggets over number 4 seed Dallas Mavericks. Number 2 seed Los Angeles Lakers over number 6 seed Los Angeles Clippers. Western Conference Finals. Number 2 seed Los Angeles Lakers over number 1 seed Denver Nuggets. NBA Finals. Number 1 seed Los Angeles Lakers over the Brooklyn Nets. Number 1 seed in probably 6 games. Might go 7 games, but I don't think it probably would. So, what are my NBA awards for the 2020-2021 NBA regular season? The MVP for this season will be Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to hear another word. Doncic should have won the MVP last year. Giannis Antetokounmpo did not deserve MVP last year for the Milwaukee Bucks. Tell me this again. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks were expected to be the number 1 seed. Anyone expect the Dallas Mavericks to be the 7th seed in the Western Conference, let alone put an upset scare on the Los Angeles Clippers? No. No, it was not. Rookie of the Year, Denny Avdia, the Washington Wizards. I'm going to keep saying this. He's a born natural scorer. That's the case with Denny Avdia. He's going to turn the Wizards to a 5 seed. along with the help of Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. And it's just going to be a fun watch in the East for the Washington Wizards. Sixth Man of the Year. Shocker, Lou Williams of the Los Angeles Clippers. Most Improved Player. Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors. Coach of the Year. Monty Williams, Phoenix Suns. Last but not least, I forgot to write this down, but I'm going to say it anyways. Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert, Utah Jazz, and Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Clippers. That's what I have for my NBA 2020-2021 NBA preview. So I've been basically commercial free other than the commercially not today's show, and I apologize for the quick error with the unmuting the button, and you couldn't hear me for the first minute, so I had to unmute it. And ladies and gentlemen, I was just so excited. I just wanted to get a lot of things on my chest today. I mean, I really did. I so did. So badly. It's not even funny. But Jalen Hurts with the Philadelphia Eagles, Daniel Jones, New York Giants, and amongst other things. And the Washington football team taking first place in the NFC East. And there's nothing to really talk about with the Dallas Cowboys. They stink from the S to the K. Despite beating the Cincinnati Bengals in the one. You also got Tennessee Titans beating down the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. Derrick Henry, man of his own. I was talking about who has the best chance to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which I think is Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't understand this Pittsburgh Kansas City talk. And one last thing, please give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with 12Z Sports. We are growing with followers and viewers and listeners. It would be truly greatly appreciated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am out of time here. Thanks for tuning in to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and your week as well. Though nonetheless, I will be back on the air at the same time on Thursday, though nonetheless. And I'm going to be going over Monday Night Football game recap between the Baltimore Ravens and Cleveland Browns. Preview Week 15 of the NFL season. Bold predictions. Top 10 teams in the NFL entering Week 15 of the NFL season. Though nonetheless. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.